Okay, this is part two of the game between Marshall and Tarrasch. Um, and White had just made its 18th move, queen to b1, threatening to capture the pawn on h7. Black plays h6, saving the pawn, attacking the bishop. The bishop comes back to d2, where it attacks the queen, and then the queen retreats to c7, remaining on the open file. Now, Black's plan is it's won a pawn, and now it's going to have to sort of regroup or come up with a new plan. And its plan is going to be to penetrate on the queen sides with its pieces, and hopefully the white position will collapse and will win. So let's see if that works. So now on White's 20th move, it plays king to f1, going over to the king side where the king can be a bit more safe. Black plays knight to c4, attacking the bishop. Even though it is protected by the knight, White would like to retain its bishop pair advantage, so it plays bishop to c1, the only square that's left. And now this bishop, Black plays bishop a4, cutting off the squares the queen can go to. So it is moving its pieces into the queen side, cutting off the available squares to the white pieces. The queen goes a2, threatening to win the knight here on c4, but really it's probably planning on coming over to here and then getting over to the king side somewhere. Black plays rook to c8, bringing another heavy piece to the bishop file. Queen goes to c2, just transferring the queen over to the king side. Now well, maybe I should say that probably White has some plan of something like this for checkmate, but Black won't allow that with knight to c3. Attacking the queen, and now the queen's going to have to go to somewhere. The only spot left is queen to e1, and now Black plays knight to a5 with the idea of bringing the knight in, and then the rook over here will have no square left to go to, so winning the exchange. So what is Black to do? Well, it could try bishop to d2, getting rid of this knight, that way it can move on a square, but the knight will come in, and if the bishop takes, the Black will just take with the queen. And then if White could then try queen takes, rook to c1, rook to d1 to save the bishop, and then the knight just comes to c1 where the bishop is a goner. Yeah, well, and also the rook is under attack too. So that doesn't really work. So it tries sort of a desperado of bishop takes h6, and it was really hoping for is that for White to capture the bishop, where we'll get some counterplay, but White does not bite. Let's just look at a line. Let's say if Black did take the bishop, then White would probably go queen to e3, king to g7 to protect the pawn, the knight in, moving the knight in, and then now Black's going to have to play the knight back for defense, which isn't what it wanted to do. It wanted to penetrate the queen side with the pieces, then the queen's going to come to g3 check and whatever. Now you see that White has some counterplay, and Black's penetration of the queen side is not happening, so Black was not going to go for that. So instead of taking the bishop, it just plays knight to b3. Anyways, the bishop comes back, and now Black will just take the rook. Queen takes, and now basically Black is up the exchange. It won a pawn over here earlier, but then White won this pawn here. So now it plans just to simplify, and now with moving the bishop back here, it's going to end up getting this bishop, the white bishop, so white just takes the bishop, the knight takes, and now white will play g3, just trying to create some moving space for the king. Probably better was playing h3, but g3, then the queen. This will allow black to play queen to c6, attacking the knight, and now the king has to come up and defend. Now black plays rook to d8, attacking the pawn. White defends, queen to e4, keeping the pin going, centralizing the queen, creating all types of havoc. Also now starting to focus on winning this pawn here. Queen to b2, attacking the knight. Rook comes to d5, protecting the knight, but also with the sinister move of coming to here, we can attack this knight twice. a4, forcing the knight away, which was also attacking this pawn. The knight goes to d6, bishop to f4, attacking the knight. Black is probably trying to look at something, trying to get this pawn up to where it can move it up, maybe moving this pawn up, so white doesn't really have a lot of moves here. Knight to f5, attacking the pawn, bishop comes back to defend, and then the knight takes it out. Pawn takes, queen takes, so now black just got a queen, just got a pawn. g4 to prevent the rook from going to f5. f5, trying to open up the position. White does not oblige, it plays g5. Queen to e4, reestablishing the pin. Queen to c3, protecting the knight, reinforcing the pawn. Also it has check here. If white could get in this move and this move, it could checkmate black. f4, moving up, attacking. Now this attacks here, threatening the take. Queen to c8, king comes up, queen back to c3. e5, hoping that white will take, and then the rook comes in and will get the knight. But white does not play that. It plays h4. Then now black takes the pawn. Basically now black is up material and has two connected pass pawns. g6, hoping just trying to get something. King goes up to h6. Doesn't want to go back, where we'll probably get checkmated. Doesn't want to take the pawn, where white could potentially have some counterplay. King to h2, hoping for some type of swindle, but no, the queen just comes to h2, and the game is over. So in the very last few moves, white did have some of these swindle type moves, or little traps that black could fall into, but black did not really fall into any of them. It just played very straightforward and ended up winning. So that is the game between Marshall and Tarrasch.